Representing people, Ring Roadmap here, and today we're going to talk about Zhang versus Kabayel. I'm not sure if that's the way you pronounce his first name, but this is going to be a good fight. Kabayel has had some upsets with Makhmudov and with that other dude, I forgot his name. But this is going to be a great fight. Kabayel with that straightforward style, same thing for Zhang. So let's get right into this one. So the first thing we see a lot with Kabayel is going to be his gazelle punches, because he tends to have shorter arms than most of his opponents, and I do think it's going to be the same way for this fight. What he tends to do a lot is he tends to use gazelle punches in order to close the gap, as you can see here. So he sets it up first with an overhand, and then he goes with a gazelle uppercut right there. Very sneaky move, and then you're going to see that again here. So gazelle hook right here, setting up that straight right hand. Really good, although I do think that he's going to end up smothering himself with Zhang, because Zhang doesn't really step back all that much, you know. He doesn't really move backward all that much. So if he tries doing gazelle punches against Zhang, it will be, or they will end up in a smothering position in which Kabayel doesn't want to be in, to be honest with you. Zhang is much bigger, or not that bigger, honestly, but he's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger as well. And so Kabayel has to be really wary of smothering himself and getting into those exchanges. Although I do think that Kabayel is also more consistent with his work rate compared to Zhang, who's got such crazy power to the point where he gets lazy sometimes, right? So this is the first move that we see a lot with Kabayel. And another thing with the gazelle shots is it's much easier to counter, much easier to time as well, especially with the right hook of Zhang. So again, something to be wary of as well. So next thing we'll see is going to be the lead right hand. He likes to lead with his right hand a lot, as you will see on this one. He leads with the right hand right there. Kind of predictable with it, because he does this forward lean before he does it, right? And because of that, he tends to get stuck a lot on the front foot, doesn't step back on time, and if he falls short, he will be countered with the left hand of the southpaw or with the right hook. Really dangerous as well against Zhang. So next thing is going to be body shots. He likes to invest in the body a lot. This is how we break down Makhmudov, the much bigger guy, right? So he starts off with some punches to the head, some light taps to the head, and then he goes on to throw shots to the body just like so. Here. Then here again, some great body work by Kabayel, which is gonna serve him well against Zhang, because man, I've never seen Zhang hurt to the chin, to be honest with you. Even the right hand of Wilder, it barely rocked him. It's like a fucking elephant, right? So investing to the body might be a wise move for Kabayel, and it's gonna serve him well because he's got some pop. You know, we've seen what he did to the body of Makhmudov, and Makhmudov is no small guy. He's very big as well. So this is gonna be another great tactic that he can have in his arsenal against a guy like Zhang, who kind of stands still as well. Not much footwork, not much head movement as well, but he's really efficient with his blocks and his parries. So he's got to invest in the body. Speaking of Kabayel, right? Now the final thing we see a lot is going to be lazy jabs, and a lot of times, because he doesn't really move his head a lot, he likes to stick to these lazy jabs in order to measure the distance, and because of that, he gets timed a lot whenever he throws these lazy jabs with a right hook over the top or the left hand counter of the southpaw, which he has to be careful of when facing a guy like Zhang. Not only does he throw lazy jabs, he also doesn't have much backward movement, and he also doesn't have much power or much speed in his punches when he is trying to set up something with a lazy jab. So he doesn't have reflexes as well, doesn't have the best reflexes, doesn't have the best head movement, like I said. So he's got to be careful about throwing these lazy jabs. He's got to make sure that he goes right back to guard, and if he doesn't, he's got to be ready to move back, okay? Which is what you'll see here again. He's setting up his power shots with the lazy jabs, and he gets timed whenever he throws it, because he stays at the center, and then he relies so much on that chin of his, which is kind of decent, but we've already seen him hurt a lot of times. So let's get right into my prediction. I would go here with a TKO victory for Zhang. I think he's got more power in his shot, like punch for punch. In my opinion, Zhang has more pop, more durable, probably more inconsistent, so that's something that we have to play into account as well, or we have to take into account. So if Kabayel goes into the late rounds, I do think that he's gonna outwork Zhang. But otherwise, if Zhang lands that good shot, which I know he will because Kabayel is kind of easy to hit, and he doesn't have the best backward movement as well, doesn't have the best counter punching skills, I think eventually he's gonna break Kabayel down and knock him out at around rounds 9 to 12. But I do know that Kabayel is younger, and if it goes into a decision, I would favor Kabayel via decision. So that was it for my prediction. Not rounds 9 to 12. Actually, I would go with an early TKO. I kind of mixed it up for Madrimov versus, or not Madrimov Ortiz. I mixed it up for the main event, right? That's not actually my prediction. My prediction is round 5 to 8 TKO for Zhang. Otherwise, it would be a good decision win for Kabayel because he's younger, with much more stamina, much more consistent work rate. So that would be my prediction for this fight. Round 5 to 8 TKO, Zhang, or a decision win for Kabayel. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys soon. Join my Patreon if you want to, and peace out.